Hi everyone, I'm Rincey and this is Rincey Reads. Today I'm going to be doing my Bout of Books TBR video. Bout of Books is a week-long read-a-thon and it's one of my favorite read-a-thons. I think it's partially just because it was my first, so I have like a little special place in my heart for it. But another reason why I love it is because it's a read-a-thon where you make your own goals. So there are no real expectations other than you try to read, and preferably you read more than you usually do, but you set your own goals, you figure out what works best for you, so there isn't a lot of pressure unless you just make obnoxiously high standards for yourself. I'll have information and a link to the website down in the description below. It starts today and it runs through Sunday, so there's still time to join in if you are wanting to. I think it's a great way to start off the new year. I'm using this as a way to really tackle the handful of goals that I have for 2017, my reading goals. So yeah, I have 7 books here. I don't think I'm going to get to all 7 books, but I feel like 7 books is a good like TBR number to have because it isn't super overwhelming that I get lost on which book I should choose next, but it's enough options that if I get bored with one, I can still switch it out without, losing too much within my TBR or wasting too much time. All of these are books that are on the shorter side, or they're books that I'm really interested in, which are like 2 of the things that you really need when you're going for read-a-thon books. So I do have like a little bit of a priority list there. My goal for this read-a-thon is to finish 3 books at minimum. I'm hoping that I'll get to maybe 4 or 5, but I would like at least 3. And so to help that, the first book that I have here is Junpei Lahiri's The Clothing of Books. This isn't necessarily going to be the first book that I read, but it's definitely going to be a book that I read because it's only like 75 pages long. It's super tiny. It's just like a tiny little essay that Junpei Lahiri wrote about book jackets. I haven't read it yet, obviously, so I can't talk too much about it, but I believe she talks about the relationship of a story to a book jacket coming from both an author's point of view as well as a reader's point of view. Junpei Lahiri is one of my favorite authors of all time, so I definitely had to pick this up, and I was at a bookstore in December and I saw it there, and so I immediately bought it. Next up, I have Quesadillas by Juan Pablo Villalobos. This is a book that I picked up when I was in New York City this past November. I had read Down the Rabbit Hole a couple of years ago and I've been meaning to pick up more of his books. This would also help me with my reading goal of reading more international authors, so double checks there. And also it's relatively short, and Down the Rabbit Hole I believe I read in like 2 days because it was around the same size as this one, so definitely looking forward to this. I've heard good things about this one as well. Next up I have The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. This is a book that I have never read, and so I feel like it's about time that I fix that. I don't know anything about this story at all. I'm going into it completely blind, and hopefully it's a compelling enough read and a fast enough read that's good for the read-a-thon, but if you've read this and you think it's a little bit of a slower read, definitely let me know and I might put this on the back burner and read it later on this month. This would also fulfill the Read Harder challenge of read a debut book. Next I have The Sun is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. This book I got from Book of the Month, but I've heard amazing things about this book. It's young adult, so I have a feeling it'll be a relatively quick read, but I've just heard the story is amazing. I know a lot of people who read this in like 1 or 2 sittings, so I'm really looking forward to this. I believe this is a story about a girl who's about to get deported back to Jamaica when she runs into this boy, and then they sort of start this relationship, but she realizes they can't really go anywhere because she's about to be deported. So yeah, really looking forward to this, and this I might also fulfill a Read Harder challenge of read a book by or about an immigrant, but I have to read the story to figure out whether or not it actually fulfills that because I'm not exactly sure. So those 4 books are sort of like my main priority when it comes to this week, and then these 3 are sort of like my backups in case I finish those or I'm just not feeling any of those. First up I have Cannery Row by John Steinbeck. I just picked this one because it's short. So I feel like it would be a good one to have on hand. Then I have Iron Cast by Destiny Soraya. This is a young adult fantasy book that I haven't heard anyone talk about. The only reason why I know about this is because Amanda Nelson from Book Riot made a video about this. I will link to that video, but the way that she described it sounded absolutely fascinating, so I'm really excited to read this and hopefully I like it as well, as at least as much as she did. And then the final book that I have is Big Little Lies by Leanne Moriarty. This is a book that I got from the library because it's being made into a miniseries on HBO, and I saw the trailer for the miniseries and I was like, okay, that looks pretty fantastic, but I wanted to read the book first because of course. So I put it on hold at the library and it just came in, so I picked it up. I don't know if I would actually be able to finish this during the read-a-thon because it's relatively large, but I've heard that it's like a really addicting read, so it might be a really quick read. So let me know. I know this is a really popular book, so I'm sure someone out there who's watching this has read it. So let me know down below whether or not this would be good for the read-a-thon or not. I have a feeling that even if I don't read it this week, I'm going to get to it relatively soon because I'm super intrigued by this because I've heard such good things about it. And this would also fulfill the Read Harder challenge of read a book that takes place more than 5,000 miles away from your location, because I believe this book is set in Australia. So yeah, those are all of the books that I have on my TBR. Like I said, feel free to let me know down in the comments below if you've read any of these books and whether or not you think they are good or bad for the read-a-thon. Also, let me know down below if you are participating in Bout of Books at all. I feel like I haven't really heard that many people talk about it. I think it's because, you know, it's the beginning of the year and people are distracted by the holidays and things like that. But I definitely recommend doing it. Even if you don't read a ridiculous amount of books, I think it's a good way to just jumpstart the year and get a head start on your reading and your reading goals. Also, feel free to follow me on Twitter and Goodreads, and I don't know if I will be updating that much on Instagram, but you can follow me on there as well, because I'll probably be posting little status updates throughout the week, definitely on Goodreads, most likely a little bit at least on Twitter as well. So definitely follow me on those platforms if you're on there, if you would like to see how my reading is going. So yeah, that's all I have for now. Thanks for watching.